I'm Erin Lawler Patterson, the Goodness Chick. I'm an international speaker, podcaster, counselor, author, and proud part of the Mental Health News Radio Network. Join me on the journey of empowering you to live life with an overflowing cup rather than an empty one. We look at mental health, self-care, addiction, relationship, and wellness, where we use our challenges to fuel us rather than consume us. We are on, and I am in my backyard because currently with the coronavirus, we have our kids at home. Everything has kind of felt like it's been upside down. And with that, it's kind of using strategies and how we look at things to not feel so up in the air, if you will. And so today I'm super excited beyond words because I miss my peeps back in Jersey. I've got a dear friend of mine, Jan Vizoco, who is here from Highland. Well, not currently, Highland Regional.
No, right.
At home, we are social distancing at
Right.
the school's in Blackwood, correct?
Yes.
My friend,
New Jersey.
you've been there 16 years.
Yeah.
And I think about how our paths crossed a number of years ago. We were back in the day, our SAC meetings. And for those of you that don't know what a SAC is, it is Student Assistance Coordinator. And I think the best, craziest job in the world. You are work with our kids' hearts, encourage, and just do amazing things. Jan and my Jersey crew. I want to give you guys a shout out if you're listening. But Jen, I want to say welcome.
Thank you.
Now you're in your home and I'm in mine, and we're social distancing.
We are.
You know, and talking a little bit about, I'm actually going to ask you this first, but what kind of led you into the field of being a SAC counselor, if you don't mind me asking?
You know, it probably wasn't the route that most people take, which is probably having some connection to addiction, alcoholism and addiction. For me, I was doing some work with a program called Child Assault Prevention, CAP. It's a national program. New Jersey has a strong project. You can look it up online if you want to, but it's all about teaching kids how to feel safe. So it actually touched on bullying and people you don't know and unwanted touches. And I feel like in a way that prepared me for what our job turned into. You know what I mean? Like in the beginning, our job was solely focused on the drug and alcohol piece. But then we started getting everything put on us, you know, the mental health, the family dynamics, you know, calling child services and providing some kind of mental health support. And the things that I learned doing the CAP project, I use every single day. Yeah. So the drug and alcohol piece, I took the classes I was supposed to take, you know, and that's where we initially met. Exactly. Yeah. And and so it's been wonderful. And I do know people in my family who are recovering. And the really cool thing is that a lot of people will come up to me and share their stories with me, you know, and they don't really tell anybody that kind of thing. So they feel like they have a partner, I think.
And I think it's the beauty of SAC counselors in particular, where I feel like exceptionally blessed that I was able to kind of be in that circle, and I'll consider myself always in that circle. But it just, I think it takes a special kind of person where if you say, you know, well, what do you do? And I'm a SAC counselor, like, unless you sit in that person's office or you work within that school to see kind of the essence of that, what they do, it's so hard to wrap your mind around it and what a pivotal role the SAC counselor does play within a school day, because it's not just drugs, addiction, it's mental health, it's life, it's housing, it's food, it's everything.
Everything.
And this is where, you know, with today, thinking about what role you guys play right now with what's going on nationwide, right? With our kids have really been uprooted in so many senses where, okay, we're social distancing, we're staying away from people. Holy smokes, it's so much change, not just for us as adults, but kids, that it's, you know, I think about how many of our kids right now struggle just in general with anxiety. And now you throw this on top of it, and it's a little overwhelming. And so kind of rolling into this, saying for you, you know, what are some ways we can have our kids right now who went from, I wake up in the morning, I head to school, I'm at school, I have math and I have English and I have
the structure,
you know, appointment with Miss V at you know, third period. And and now it's gone. And now I'm talking to you, you know, looking and I see you and we're talking online, but it's not the same. That person,
so not the same.
Gone. So what are some tips that you would give to kids
or to parents right now in terms of how do we decrease a little bit of that anxiety?
Well, what I say is just be honest with your kids. Like when you're talking to your children, we're all scared. There isn't anybody who isn't somewhat fearful about what's going to happen. And we don't have those answers. So I think it's okay to be real about your feelings and talk to your kids and tell them it's okay to talk about it, to express those. And I think the other thing that's coming out, it's good to remember, like to share with one another, to check in on one another, like talk about the things we can control, that we can help,
Right.
rather than the things we don't have control over. I love, checking in on people that I haven't seen, especially people even my age or my kids' ages who are living alone. Maybe they just moved out of the house, but they're in their own apartment or their own house. I worry about them. So check in. And I always say to like, go out on a limb and try to teach an older generation about technology.
Right.
There's something that'll keep you busy,
Yeah.
and that'll help us all stay connected even more.
But don't you feel like you have, I mean, even where I'm at in Florida, there are a lot of, we'll say 55 and over. And I was actually, we have a
Oh,
real
right.
estate agent because we're looking at buying a house. This is not the ideal time, obviously, but we were talking, we've kind of, stricken up a friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, Erin, I have my grandkids up north. I'm used to
Mm.
seeing people. And I was talking to her about Zoom. She's like, I don't have an iPhone. So and I said, well, I tried breaking it down to her and I said, I'm going to send you the link. So seeing other people's faces that are familiar are so
So
important right
important.
now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I pass someone I see all the time when I was biking this morning with my son, staying 6 feet away. And she's like, I haven't seen you in a while. And I'm missing people. And I think whatever we can do as human beings right now, reaching out to our kids or I'm going to say empowering our young people right now to say,
Mm-hmm.
hey, let's teach grandma or, the aunt in Nebraska or whoever it is, the
Right.
ways that to socially, to connect through
Interact.
technology.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and that would benefit us now, but also going forward.
Going forward. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly. I feel like it's good too to remember, like, just to keep a positive perspective.
Mhm.
If you tell yourself you're stuck at home, well, then you're just going to feel awful. But if you
Ah,
say that you're choosing to stay at home in order to stay safe,
mhm,
that's a whole different perspective.
mhm.
That's a different way of looking at it. In my neighborhood, I've noticed that some people are starting to use sidewalk chalk a lot,
I love
and
that.
kids are out doing hopscotch and things like that. My one neighbor, her hopscotch went up to 31. I said, I don't think I can do that, but
Yeah.
uh, but there was a movement to put rainbows in your window. So as much as it was fun for me to do a rainbow, you could also see that it was fun for the little kids walking around with their parents to find the rainbows
Yeah.
in the neighborhood. And then somebody started teddy bears, and it's just a great way to keep the neighborhood connected, whether you're inside or outside.
Oh, it's community. I think that we've maybe
Exactly.
lost a little bit of that, and the
Mm,
positive being like, what positive can we find from a pandemic? Well, we can.
yeah,
Like you
yeah,
said, like, oh gosh, I'm stuck at home.
right.
I'm staying at home to keep
Yeah,
people safe,
exactly.
and I do. It's everything's wording, and it could seem over the top with the positivity, but it's not. I think
Right.
our mindset right now is massively significant.
So important.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, what are
So
you doing for within your home? And you had said like within your neighborhood, you put, the rainbow up. Is there anything else that has kind of helped your day flow a little bit?
I try to practice gratitude, right? Recognizing that I don't really need as much as I thought I did, and I'm really quite content with what I have. And I'm so very fortunate.
Yeah.
Um, I also I try to do things that make me smile. Old reruns of the show Whose Line Is It Anyway makes
Uh,
me laugh so much, and I love that. I love to finish my day with that. I just love it. So
yeah.
whoever's out there who's not doing it anymore, bring it back because it was great.
Right. Right.
um, and I also have started using the fancy soap, using the fancy mug,
Mhm.
right? Just that kind of thing. Whatever it is that makes me smile, that makes me happy. I find that I buy things and I save them. What am I saving them for? Well, if I
Right.
haven't saved them for this situation, then I don't know what
I
I'm
don't know.
saving it for. So
Bring out that fancy soap, baby.
bring out the fancy soap. Exactly. But I started thinking about, I'm sorry if I'm jumping from a
No,
topic.
jump away, baby. That's how we roll.
Okay. Um, about what's a positive thing that came out of all of this. And I think I really came up with one.
Bring
I
it.
was thinking about when were we ever feeling like this ever before in the past? Like if you have a snow day, the rest of the world isn't having a snow day. You're kind of isolated in your thing. But what's that? Oh, you're so funny. But yes, the last time we felt like this was probably World War II, where everyone in the world was affected in some way by what was going on, just like we are now. And look what came out of that, like Rosie the Riveter.
Mm-hmm.
That whole thing of women coming out of the house and going into the workforce changed everything for women. That was a positive thing.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of excited to see what's going to come out of this. Right now, this isn't the new normal. This is craziness.
Yeah, it's craziness.
What comes after is the new normal.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows what that's going to be? I'm kind of excited to see what's going to change and how we're going to do things better.
Improvement. And there's always room. It's that light ahead of us that you can't not see right now at all. It seems like if it's even flickering, but it is taking away. If we allow ourselves to, I do think it's a choice, whether it's individually or collectively. How are we going to, as human beings, get something from this, give something from this, kind of evolve through this, because it is, it's like eternal. And I'm going to jump around a little bit. I think about when it comes to mental health and anxiety and growth through this, I think what is significant is being careful how much you subject yourself to social media, to the radio, to TV. I know it's important to keep up with what's going on, but what could put a damper and totally squelch the positivity is 24/7 exposure to what's going on, because it comes from all different sides, and we're here and numbers and this. I mean, it could put you right in an anxiety attack, as right here, right now.
Exactly.
Right, for your well-being, would you say kind of bubbling a little bit?
Well, the 24-hour news cycle, in a way, is so unhealthy. When I talk to my kids about how, you used to watch the Tonight Show, and then you would see the test pattern and hear the Star Spangled Banner. They don't even know what you're talking about, because they're used to something being on TV all night long.
TV
went off. It was done. So in a way, that was way healthier than what we're doing now, So I think as much as we're embracing technology as we should to keep in touch, I think we also have to set those limits and those boundaries and walk away from it a couple of times a day, at least as much as you need. Just put the phone down, shut the computer, take a walk. You're allowed to go out and take a walk.
Go out and take a walk.
Yeah, a bike ride, whatever.
And getting outside is really important right now.
So important. Yeah. And up here in the Northeast, our weather has been crazy. Like 1 minute it's cold and raining, and then the next day it's like 70 degrees and sunny.
It's so weird.
It's been so up and down. So you have to really take advantage of those nice days when you get them, in the Northeast, especially in the spring.
I know. I'm like, and it's almost April, which is crazy train.
Yeah, it'll probably snow on Easter, but whatever.
Hey, we'll throw peeps in the snow.
Right.
It's brought and I think about the change it's brought for so many people, where we would have those snow days, right? It's just part of the Northeast, and but it's this global thing now, and I think trying to do our best to find the positive and kind of celebrating the goodness. I know my son is super bummed out, where his birthday's in like a week and a half. He was supposed to have a birthday party next weekend. And he's like, "This stupid virus." He's angry. And I said, let's go. Actually, we set up like a punching bag outside. Said it's okay to talk about and that we're going to miss out on. But later after this, we'll still have a birthday party, right? We'll still do something to celebrate the awesomeness. But right now we can't, because we want to keep people safe. And when you're, almost 5 years old, that's really hard to wrap your head around. But
it is.
like in the beginning, finding ways to dialogue with people and finding the positive, getting outside right now is massive. I do think of all the people right now who are really emotionally struggling with this change and feeling like, and I'll say, how important it is for, whether it's our kids that are listening to this, or loved ones, if you're struggling, reaching out, that it's not a weakness.
Absolutely. No, asking for help is a sign of strength. Yeah.
Don't you think so?
It takes so much courage. It takes so much courage. Yeah.
And say, I'm here. Can we do weekly FaceTimes? I need to talk with, 5 o'clock or whatever it is, whatever works. Having that voice exchange, seeing that person, even if it is, it's we're doing over our laptops or our phones.
Right.
We need that personal connection.
We need it. Well, I just had a new granddaughter 6 weeks ago. my first one, but it's so hard to be away from her, and my daughter sends,
Uh,
FaceTimes me and will send pictures. Not enough, quite frankly,
right.
Randy, if you're watching
Pick
this.
it up a notch.
But yeah,
Pressure's on.
right. But yeah, again, it's about keeping her safe,
Yeah.
and my daughter, her mom safe, so we
It
do
is.
what we
It's so
have to do.
weird. I mean, you see pictures. I look at my peeps. You guys back home, back in
Mhm.
New Jersey. You won't say home, but like the part. The grandparents talking. From 2 car lengths away.
Right.
That the windows that's separating and
Hmm.
they're apart doesn't mean that it's still not really hard and gutting. But those pictures, those the videos, and you think about like back in World War II, obviously,
Right.
we
Right.
weren't here, but they didn't have the technology and the positive
No,
of the technology, what we can do with that to encourage one another.
exactly.
Because I
Yeah.
think sometimes we could like technology and it could do awesome, amazing things. And
Yeah.
one of that right now, kicking it up a notch of really engaging with people as much as we can.
Yeah. Sometimes it can be the bane of our existence,
It can,
and
yeah,
yet,
yeah,
other times it's the connection that we so
yeah.
vitally need right now.
That
Yeah.
balance, dude.
Hmm.
Finding that
Hmm.
balance, it
Yeah,
absolutely is.
for
I want
sure.
to ask you as an educator,
Hmm.
and I think the educators in our life can play such a pivotal role
Oh,
in what they say or how they maybe inspire. Was there anybody in your time that when you were, whether elementary, middle, high school, college, that had an influence on you, or that
yeah.
you're like, oh, that moment of positivity?
I have a friend who is the epitome of kindness. I really think, like, she walks the walk. You know what I mean? We all talk about it,
Yeah.
but so many people I know, and then you hear them making a snide comment, or it's, to me, kindness. I mean, it really should be 24/7. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? And I try to do that. I'm not successful all the time, but I try to. But one of the things she said to me is that there's nothing more important than our relationships with our children.
Mm.
And so I've kind of changed that right now, is there's nothing more important than our relationships, period.
Yeah.
It's so important to stay connected and value, and not, um, put somebody off with what we're saying, not to be rude, and just be patient with one another.
Yeah.
It's just so important to value our relationships above all else.
Right. And relationships they're such an important part. They're not letting ourselves get distracted by those things that just simply don't matter. And
Hmm.
I think this
Exactly.
in history is kind of throwing that in our face a little bit. What have we been distracted with? What have
Mm-hmm.
we taken away and diluted, things that really matter in life? We can just chase and chase and chase and get busy being busy.
Yeah.
I've certainly been guilty of it.
Right.
But when's the last time and having a cup of coffee, even if it's on FaceTime with that friend,
Right.
that's halfway across the country, or
Right.
3 blocks up the road, but you can't see each other right now.
Exactly.
It's
It
putting
feels
ourselves,
just as far away.
doesn't it, man? It's
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
Blah, but the positive blah does exist sometimes. But just trying to just go forward and finding ways to encourage one another. And I do also think that the aspect of gratitude, one of the things I've thrown at people is like, keeping a gratitude journal or writing notes on your phone. What are you grateful for as you go through every day? Because what I think it'll be interesting is in 10 years from now, looking back at that,
Wow, that's true.
I mean, what have I used to, like, wow, I went through that. Wow, how I had the ability to just every day find something positive. I
Hmm.
try to do that with my son every night. We pray before we go to bed, and I'll
Uh-huh.
say, dude, what's one thing that you're grateful for? What is one thing about one little kernel? And he tries
Yeah.
for a few weeks, to butter me up. You, mommy. And I'm like, that's let's go a little bit deeper. You. What is it? What, like, we have a roof over our heads. We've got A, B, C, you got
Yeah.
so many people
Food
that
to
love
eat.
you, food to eat,
Yeah.
toilet paper, right? I
Oh,
mean, kind
please.
of the little things
Yeah.
that we have soap to wash your hands. And it might sound, but it's not
Right.
how that the power of being grateful and reflecting on that. And then I do think, especially through this and looking back on it, even from a few months or in a few years,
Right.
where have I come from here?
Right.
Because if
Right.
we're not growing, dude, we're staying still.
Right. What's positive that came out of
That's
it?
stinky. That gets stinky.
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
let's not be
So
stinky. think of those bogs that get kind of funky train.
Yeah.
But Jen, I want to say thank you for joining me today.
You are most welcome.
From your home to mine, and
Right.
thinking of everybody today. Keep safe. Let's maintain our social
You
distancing.
too.
Super
Absolutely.
frustrating, and
Mhm.
knowing let's take some goodness and sprinkle it, baby, right now. And if we need it to be sprinkled on us, reach out to people. Know you're not alone.
Exactly.
How massively important that is. And I'm wishing each of you a tremendous amount of peace, love, and goodness, my friends.
If you enjoyed today's episode, there's a lot more encouragement and life-kicking strategies on goodnesschick.com. Have a great day, my friends.